Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Esther Prara. If this is the first time you are tuning in, I say a very warm welcome to you. And if you're an old subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. So in today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to draft a full scale bodice. You guys have asked me to draft a full scale body since we already have half scale bodies on this channel already. So before you can really understand these full scale bodies, you must have watched the half scale bodies. So I'll drop the link to the half scale bodies in the description box. So let's get into it. So the first thing I've drawn here is a box. This box, I use the biggest circumference of my body, which is my upper hip. Since it's a full blouse, it's not half, so I'm going to use my upper hip, and my upper hip measurement is 36 inches. So I divided the 36 inches into 2. I got 18. That is the box you are seeing here, and half of the 18 is 9 inches. So that is what I have drawn here. So this is for the center back, while this is for the center front. So I'm going to be marking like this for the front, and I'm going to be marking like this for the back. I hope you understand. So the next thing I want to do is to mark my chest line. So my chest line is my bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5, and that measurement is going to be gotten below my shoulder slant for the back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to divide my chest line. My chest line is 30. I'm going to divide my bust. My bust measurement is 35. 35 divided by 6 plus 1.5 will give me 7.3. So I'm going to add that 1 inch that I'm going to slant at the back. So what you do, just divide your bust measurement by 6, add 1.5, then add 1 inch again, so that we can get the measurement straight from the top of our paper. I hope you got that. So my measurement is 35. 35 divided by 6 plus 1.5 gave me 7.5. Then I'm going to add that 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and that's going to give me 8.3. So I'm going to mark 8.3 right here. 8.3. I'm going to mark it across because the chest line affects both the front and the back. Okay, 8.3. That is done. The next thing I want to mark, I'll draw the lines, but let's just mark all our lines. The next thing I want to draw is my shoulder to nipple line, which is 9.5. So I'm going to mark 9.5. 9.5. I'm going to mark that only on the front. Okay, let's not get it confused. Let's be drawing our lines straight so that we know what we are doing. Okay, so that is our chest line, and this one is our shoulder to nipple line. Okay, so this is shoulder to nipple line. So the next thing I want to draw is my front waistline. My front waistline is 17 inches. So I'm going to mark 17 inches. 17 inches. And my back waistline is 15 inches. So I'm going to mark 15 inches for the back. Inches for the back. So I'm going to draw these lines. So this is my front waistline, while this is my back waistline. Okay, so the next thing I want to draw is the blouse length. So my blouse length is 24 inches. So I'm going to mark 24 inches. This is it, 24 inches. So the length of my paper is 24 inches. But you know the back blouse length is not going to be 24. It's going to be 2 inches shorter than the front because of our bust dart. So I'm going to minus these 2 inches, that the difference between my front half length and my back half length. I'm going to minus it down here. So this is going to be my blouse length for the back. So this part is out of our measurements. We are not going to make use of it. So you might be wondering, how will they match up at the end? Don't worry. By the time we are going to insert our bust dart and close it, when you want to sew your fabric, then you will see that they will match up. By the time you close your bust dart, your front and your back will match up. That should not be new to you if you are in this class. So let's continue. So the next thing I want to do is to mark my shoulder width. So my shoulder width is 16 inches. No, my shoulder width is 14.5 inches. So half of it is going to give me 7.25. So I'm going to mark 7.25. And for the back, I'm going to mark 7.25. So I'm going to mark it also on the chest line so that I can square the line. 7.25. 7.25. So I'm going to draw the lines. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to impute my neckline. So the basic neckline is 3 by 3 for the front, 3 by 3, while for the back is 3 by 1, so I'm going to connect this line. Okay, so next thing is to draw my shoulder slants. For the front, I'm going to slant my shoulder by 1.5. Then for the back, I'll slant it by 1 inch. Then I'll connect it to the neck width. Okay, that's done. The next thing I want to do is to draw my armhole. So what I'll do, I'll go up from the chest line. For the front, for the chest line, I'll go up by 3 inches. Then I'll go in by 0.75. But for the back, I'll get everything I have there and I'll divide it by 2. I'll mark that point. Then at that point, I'll go in by 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'll connect all these lines together. So before I connect this part, I'm going to impute my bust measurement. So my bust measurement is 35. 35 divided by 4 will give me 8.75. So I'm going to mark 8.75. My bust measurement is 35. 35 divided by 4 is 8.75. So I've marked it. Let me mark for the back too. 8.75. Okay, so now I can finish up this my armhole. Okay, then I'll connect for the back. Okay, so you see how beautiful our armhole is looking. So the next thing I want to do is to mark my back tightening to avoid any zipper bulge. So what you do, you are going to mark 0.75 on your center back. This is my back half length. So on this center back, I went in by 0.75. So I'm going to connect this line to my neck depth here. Then I'll connect it back to this place too, like this. Good. So the next thing I want to do is to mark my bust span is 7 inches. 7 divided by 2 will give me 3.5. So I'm going to mark 3.5. 3.5. I'll mark it all the way down. And I'll connect the lines. This will enable us to plot our dart. So before we plot our dart, let's impute our waist measurement and our hip measurement, then make this curve. So my waist measurement is 29 inches. 29 inches divided by 4 will give me 7.25. So I'm going to mark 7.25, and I'm going to add my dart allowance, which is 1.5. So I'm going to impute 1.5 like so. You see it? Then I'll connect it. Then I'll connect to my hip. I don't need to measure my hip because I use the hip as a guideline to get this box, so there's no need to measure my hip again. So that's all we have. So the next thing I want to do is to mark my waist measurement at the back. My waist measurement is 29 divided by 4 will give me 7.25. So this is my 7.25. Then I'm going to mark my dart allowance. So my dart is 1.5, but as you can see, it's not containing my dart. So when you are doing it, make sure you add enough ease in your box. Right now I am short of ½ inch. This is 1 inch here, and I need 1.5 for my dart. This is 1 inch. So ½ inch is missing. I'm going to write it that ½ inch is missing here. So by the time I'm transferring to fabric, ½ inch is missing. When I'm transferring to fabric, I will add that ½ inch plus my sewing allowance. So if I'm going to add 1 inch sewing allowance before, I'm going to add this ½ inch that is missing. So I'm going to add 1.5 inch sewing allowance on this waistline. This is where the ½ inch is missing on the waistline. I hope you understand. So that is done. So the next thing I want to do is to plot my dart. So I added 1.5 inch dart allowance. So I'm going to open this dart by 0.75 on both sides. Then I'm going to connect it 1 inch before the chest line, before the shoulder to nipple line. So, and for this one, I'm going to go up by 2 inches. I'm going to stop my dart 2 inches above my hip line. So I'm going to connect my dart. Okay, so that's my dart for the front. Then for the back, okay, let me connect from my waist to my hip, from my bust to my waist, from my waist to my hip. So let me just connect that first. Okay, so let's plot the darts for the back. So nipple to nipple is 3.5, so I'm going to mark 3.5. Then I'm going to get everything I have here up to the end. Here is 4.25. So that we can get a straight line. That is why I'm getting everything that we have there. So I'll mark 4.25 here too. And I'll mark 4.25 here too. And I'll connect these lines. Okay, so I'll open up my darts by 0.75 on both sides. 0.75. Then my dart will not get to the chest line. I'll come down by 1 inch. Then I'll connect my dart. Then my dart will stop 1.5 inch above my hip line. Okay, so this is done. The last thing that we are going to do here is to impute our bust dart. Our bust dart that will help us to control this, the front and the back, to match up. So your bust dart is the difference between your front half length and your back half length, and my difference is 2 inches. So I'm going to impute my 2 inches here from the shoulder to nipple line. I'm going to mark 2 inches, then I'll connect it to the bust point. So you see, this brings us to the end of drafting our full scale bodice. So this is your full scale bodice. Then if you want to give this space a design, like you want to curve it, you can curve it. Okay, let's just curve it. Let's not leave our blouse straight, so we can just give it a nice curve here. You can go up by 1.5, can go up by 1.5 and just give it a nice curve. So you see it. So you can do the same thing for the back too. Go up by 1.5 and give it a nice curve too. Just blend there. So you see, this brings us to the end of this tutorial. If you have found value in this tutorial, please give us a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.